Hey everybody, I'm Nancie McDermott, and today's the day that we're going to make deviled eggs, one of my favorite foods in the whole wide world. And it starts out with hard-boiled eggs. So let's figure out how to do that first. Place eggs in a saucepan and add cold water to cover by 1 inch. Set the pan on the stove and bring to a rolling boil over high heat. Once it's boiling, turn off the heat, cover, and set aside for 9 minutes. Transfer the eggs from the pan of hot water to a bowl of ice water. Then tap each egg gently to crush the shell and peel. To use at once, cut each egg lengthwise or crosswise. To keep, transfer to an airtight container and store in the refrigerator. Okay, the next part is the fun part. I've got all my eggs hard-boiled and peeled, and I've cut most of them in half, scooped out the yolks to make the filling. Let me show you how I did that. So I saved 3 to show you. I'm going to use my sharp paring type knife. Cut this in half lengthwise, 1 and 2, get a little bit of extra yolk there, always saving that. 1, 2, 3. And then I've got a nice big bowl. I'm going to just flip them out, just punch and twirl. That one came out pretty easily. And I'm arranging them on my beautiful deviled egg plate. If you're in the South, it's pretty easy to find a deviled egg plate at a store that sells kitchen things. You don't have to have one, but if you do, it's just an awfully easy way to present them. So I'm putting all my halves, emptied whites, halves on this plate, and I'm putting all the yolks, I'm just rolling them out using my fingers, getting as much of the yolk out as I can. It doesn't all come out, and I want you to say, I'm gonna brag because the rigmarole of letting the water come to a boil, turning off the heat, letting it simmer for 9 minutes, that discourages the eggs from turning green. If they turn green, don't worry, we're gonna put mustard in there, it won't show up, but it's a nice touch. So, and these came out pretty beautifully. All right, I've got one more, and I'm just flipping it out gently. You don't even need, you could use a spoon, but you don't need it. And so now I've got all my eggs. I have 15 spots for hard-boiled eggs on this deviled egg plate. And of course, space in the middle. I like to put some vegetables, maybe have some dip on the side. But I had 8 eggs, right? And this only has 15 spaces, right? So what happens? Well, I had 1 extra, and guess what? I had exactly 1 that tore. So this one is going to be my taste tester. That's not a bad thing, right? Okay, let's put this goodness together. So I've got, let's see, my herbs. I've got mayonnaise. I've got mustard. I've got 2 kinds of mustard. I've got curry powder, because these are curried hard-boiled eggs with fresh herbs. Curry powder. I've got salt and pepper. You could use white pepper if you like. I've got chopped green onions, and I've got about 3 tablespoons of chopped fresh herbs. I've got fresh dill, fresh cilantro, and parsley, curly parsley. You could use any herbs that you like. You could use all parsley. Up to you. This is a very user-friendly dish. Okay, so I've got my eggs, my egg yolks in a nice big bowl. And this is just, this is easier than mashed potatoes. I've got mayonnaise, and you could use olive oil. You just need to make a nice creamy mixture. I'm using the 2 kinds of mustard, my ballpark mustard for color and my Dijon mustard for flavor. I've got salt and pepper. I've got curry powder because I want this to have a nice curry kick. And before I put the herbs in, I'm going to go ahead and just mash everything up here, just pressing and stirring. I want to get the herbs together. You could put all the dry herbs together if you wanted to, but you can do this with elbow grease. You can do it with a wooden spoon, pressing everything against the side of the bowl. And you can also use a potato masher. I've got a nice old-timey one, but whatever potato masher that you have, that does a great job of getting the lumps out and bringing everything together. So I'm using my potato masher here just to put it all together. Of course, the bad thing about using that is then you have to get it off and not lose too much. So I will want to bang this hard against the side of the bowl and get everything off. Let's go ahead and get those green onions and my fresh herbs finely chopped, everything mixed up, and bring all this together. And there's still a little bit of lumps. You could put in, if you want, I've got green onion. You could put in purple onion for color. Like I said, any herb, some jalapenos, a lot of ways to go. I think this is a beautiful color and a nicely herbal filling. There we go. That was it. All right, now comes the fun part of filling these eggs. Okay, so I'm pressing that. I'm going to gather it all around. Let's see, I've got a nice, now that everything is mixed together, I wanted to have a lot of room for elbow grease. I'm going to push everything into this bowl where I don't have to dig down quite so deeply. And let's fill our eggs. I'm just going to use a butter knife and pick up one of these goodies right here. This is, if you've got kids around, if a guest comes early and wants a job, this is easy and fun to do. And anybody can do it while you take care of something else that is a little bit more of a challenge. Okay, so I'm just scooping with my butter knife. I like to put in a good amount, but not be too generous as I go because I want to make sure I get them all filled. And then I can come back and top some of them off. And if you are good with a piping bag, if you have some pastry chef type skills, by all means, if you wanted to pipe these in, I would put in a little bit more mayonnaise, maybe even some olive oil, because you would want it to be very smooth. And probably not the herbs. The herbs well, you'd want to chop up the herbs very, very fine if you're doing that. Okay, I'm going to do one more. And then I'll keep going and you come back. Beautiful. I had plenty. I was a little skimpy at first. I was afraid I was going to run out. They're mounded high. They're gorgeous. I had plenty to use. Now, suppose you don't have a deviled egg plate. Suppose you only want to have 7 because you don't need 15. I'm going to put my deviled egg plate down here. Just take well, of course you can just put them on a plate, but guess what? They roll around and they want to fall off as you walk to the table. So if I'm serving deviled eggs and I don't have a deviled egg plate, just chop up some lettuce. I've got arugula, my favorite. Arugula is very skinny, so it kind of gives good traction. I'm just going to put a selection of eggs here. It's hard to get underneath them and use my spoon because it's a little hard to get them out of here. Okay, so I'm lifting them up from my deviled egg plate. I've got 4, I've got 5, I've got 6. So if I put my filled deviled eggs on a plate with arugula, with shredded iceberg lettuce, with any kind of salad greens that you've got, then look, I can carry it around and they're not going to slip and slide. So that's a handy way to do it. And I will also point out that if you are, say, traveling and you want to put deviled eggs in your picnic basket, I'm going to put one here. I'm going to scoop up another one. Just put them together this way, touching, and set them in a container. And that way, instead of everything getting stuck to the sides of a container, you can give somebody a reconstructed egg. So here's 2 deviled eggs that'll be easy to deal with. Everybody wants 2, right? So pass those out and then people can lick their fingers and it makes it easy to travel with them. You would absolutely, you can make these ahead of time. You can make them a day ahead. Keep them refrigerated. If you're taking them on a picnic, keep them cool. Put them in a little container. I've got these beauties. But suppose maybe curry powder sounds good, but just make them plain. Leave it out. or put in, you notice I use mustard. I've got, let's see, I've got smoked paprika. It makes a wonderful seasoning. You could add Cajun seasoning, Creole seasoning, Old Bay, anything that is a flavor profile that you like. Remember, you've got choices of mustard. I have yellow ballpark mustard and Dijon mustard. You could add a little bit of vinegar if you want more of a tang. This is a red wine vinegar. Fish sauce, soy sauce. I came across a French recipe that had thyme and roasted garlic mashed up with the egg yolks along with olive oil, Provençal. Absolutely delicious. Anchovies, if that's the way you like to go. Do you get the idea? It's just an endlessly variable way to make people happy at a party. If you take deviled eggs, you're not going to bring many of them home. It's something that kids like, the old folks like, and you can have fun deciding how you're going to season it to suit yourself. Sound good? I've got one left over. Remember the one that tore? I had plenty of filling. Let me see how it is. So delicious. I hope you'll try this. I hope you will subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I'll see you soon in my kitchen. Bye now.